to Business Analyst. My name is Habiola, and so I've been a business analyst for a while now, and I do train on. I'm a trainer, so let me just call it that way. Um, so yeah, we'll just do sort of just talk about what business analysis is and who is a business analyst and how you can become one and the skills and that you actually require for this role. So yeah, let's get the ball running. Okay. So for this course, you're going to I will encourage that you should get this textbook. Is the BCS. Let me just minimize this. What's it called there? So is the BCS. Okay, is the BCS textbook, the British textbooks. So that's why I put the picture of them. Although there could be 4th edition now, I'm not really sure. But I think as of 2 years ago or so, it was 3rd edition. So you can actually probably maybe check for the latest one, the latest edition. So it could be 4th, it could be 5th. So, but at least once you see this picture, you'll be able to actually know the exact one that I'm actually referring to. So I would say is a must to have, for you, because in there you have all the things that you need to know, all the techniques, what a BA needs to do, the competencies, the skills that you require as a BA. So the book will really help you. So it's just like your, handbook. You can refer to it anytime. Even sometimes I still refer to it as well because you may want to check for anything. So I will encourage you to get one. And also, aside the textbook, you have a lot of materials online on YouTube and on business analysis. So you can get that as well. So I will encourage you to actually use that. Okay, let me just see the message if it's for me. Sorry. Okay, there's 4th edition now. Yeah, correct. Yeah, because I think there is something like that. So yeah, so there's 4th edition, so you can get the 4th edition. And even also, I know we've done a lot of training in the past, BA trainings in the past. So you can actually encourage you to actually, because this course is just is introduction. So we are not going to go into detail of, like what we did in the last maybe 4 or 5 years. We are not going to go into detail, of all those things. So this is more like just to introduce you to the course. So, but you can refer, back to all the ones that we have on the Blue Sky Citadel YouTube channel. So you have a lot there. I think the one we did 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 2 years ago, you can, and one thing about it is that, because I don't read from book, so the way how we explain it this time could be different from the way I explained it last, maybe in January. So because I know we had a session in January. So although it's still the same thing, but because I'm not doing like word for word, like, oh, our BA is this, you understand? It's still the same thing I'm trying to explain, but the way I probably maybe explain it could be, I could use maybe different scenarios, different, examples. So, but at least if you can try and listen to, I think 2 years ago, last year, and also January. So although January is more or less like introduction as well. So because all those one has like maybe 7 sessions of 2 hours training. And I think the one for last year and 2 years ago, I think it was about 6 or 7 sessions of 2 hours, and we even had workshop. So you can refer back to it. So maybe between today and next week, Monday, we are going to meet again, because it's just going to be only 2 sessions. So if you try to watch some of those videos, if you have any questions on it, just feel free to bring it to the next session, which is next week. then I can try to clarify that. I will try and make sure that next week is actually more interactive. So in case if you have any question, then you can bring that to the class next week. And so also you have some certification. I encourage people to have at least the minimum requirements, because this is more or less like the minimum, because sometimes when you, and I think it's about maybe 200, I'm not sure how much is it right now, but I think last year it was around 200 or so, 200 pounds. So, and his objectives, like, you know, they will provide you maybe like 4 or 5 answers for each question. You just need to, you know, do, you know, select the question, like OBJ, we call it like that. And I think it's about 40 questions if they've not changed it. So, and you need to pass, but I think you can refer back to you can, when you go to the BCS website, you'll be able to see all the details. But the reason why I try to encourage people to have this is that sometimes when you apply for jobs, so, and it, you know, like a lot of people do have apply for, you know, for a particular, you could have like 500 people applying for just one single post. So, and you know, the way they will actually, you know, shortlist the candidates, even for them to even to invite them for interview. So they will actually try to see their profile, you know, the qualification, because if somebody that has you know, this particular BCS foundation certificate, the certification, if you have that, and somebody another person does not really have, you know, that certification, most times they actually prefer to shortlist somebody that has that certification, because they feel, oh, this person is a certified, you know, business analyst. So that's why, and it gives you an edge anyway. So, and sometimes even if you attend an interview and they could see maybe, or they have 2 people, they've shortlisted down 2 people, and they have, you know, and it's a tight one. And, you know, they will try to find something, you know, to try to, you know, to select that, maybe their candidates. If somebody, you know, if you have to, let's say they both scored maybe 90%, 90%, and one of them has this certification and the other person does not have any certification, definitely they will prefer to select the person that has that certification. So it just give you an edge. So introduction and second session be enough to start a internship. Yeah, that's the plan. Yeah, that's the plan. But with that, I will not advise you to just stick to, you know, just the to this session, the first and the second session. So you have to watch the previous sessions that we've had in the past. You know, like the one that has maybe like 7 sessions. You know, I think we had it last year. I think we had something like that last year or 2 years ago. So at least if you can refer back to any session that we had last year and 2 years ago, definitely try as much as possible. Not even try, ensure you actually watch all those videos, even if it's just maybe summer 2019. Just try to watch all the videos for that summer 2019 you know, course, and that should be enough, you know, for you to be able to actually, you know, get the to have that knowledge that I will expect you to actually take to the internship. Because the internship, I'm sure you must have been told during the induction or last week, the internship is more like practical, and there are some things that you will be they will expect you to do. You understand? So based on the training and based on all the sessions that we've had in the past, that's why I said this, you don't limit yourself to just this session and the next week session, because it will just be introduction. I'm not going to go into details. So try and watch all the videos, at least if it's just one season, you know, like summer maybe 2019 or maybe autumn 2019 BA course. You have about 6 to 7 maybe videos there, or like session 2 hours each, that you can do that within, you know, within the next 2 weeks. You can watch that, and that will give you enough information or knowledge that you need to now do the practical. So because this introduction one and next week is not going to be enough. So that's why I will advise you to refer back to, because all those things that we, that I've explained in the previous videos, like the detailed one, that will actually help you how to map a process, how to write requirements, because those are the things that you will do during your internship. So because the internship is more like you are being placed on the project, in like a real life scenario. So you have to, be a BA on that project. The videos, you will get that on YouTube, on Blue Sky Citadel YouTube channel. I'm sure probably maybe they must have, maybe asked you to subscribe to that. So, but at least you should be able to get that on YouTube if you just search for Blue Sky Citadel. So you'll be able to see all the courses. And all the courses. Once you have all the courses, then you can just try to now try to get to the BA courses. You have several BA courses. You just need to make sure that if you are watching, because I think it is actually in a sort of like a playlist. So maybe if you select 2020 autumn, it will have the maybe session 1, session 2, session 3, session 4, session 5, session 6. So you just need to make sure you watch that complete one. And if you want to choose 2019 summer 2019 courses, just make sure you watch that that particular playlist on autumn 2019. Just try and make sure so that you don't get it mixed up. So yeah, so it will be on, and admin, please, in case maybe if you can help with the link as well, because I know people are asking for the links to that courses. If you could please help, please, to the Blue Sky Citadel channel, so that will help us well. Thank you. So yes, we can move on. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna minimize it. And so if you're now saying, what is the business analysis? Yes, I'm not going to quote the textbook for you, but I would just try to explain it in a way that you understand. So a business analyst is, we could say, is a discipline that you try to enable a change. Because when you have a business analyst to carry out business analysis, that means you're trying to, something needs to be changed, or something you're trying to enable a particular change. It could be an existing maybe system or existing product that you just want to try and identify what is wrong. Maybe you have a problem on it, or the organization may not even know the problem. So they may need, so with that, if they just probably, maybe there's a particular product that a particular shop, let's say company, TikTok, let's say actually roll out that product. And in maybe with that product, the expectation is that maybe in a week, they should have a turnover of maybe, let's say, £500,000 in a week. So probably it could be maybe over 6 months, they could see that each week their turnover maybe actually was below that target, maybe their what they plan in their forecast. So maybe let's say about 250 or 200. So definitely they may try to identify what could be the problem. So they may need somebody to do the analysis. It could be probably maybe their processes needs to be re-engineered, or maybe the product is not actually fit for purpose. And it could be maybe some customers are even complaining about a particular product. And definitely if they are complaining, they will actually say, oh, maybe this something is not durable, the product is, things like that. Maybe there could be a problem. So they may need a business analyst to actually help them carry out that analysis. And it could be a business. So that's something that maybe probably a change. And it could be something new. It could be a company actually wants to develop a product, release a product into the market. And they have the idea, But if you say you want to actually release, let's say let's say a scooter, like for the kids, for children. But definitely you have a lot of scooters out there. A lot of organizations have different scooters, and this company is a new company, or it could be even an existing company, but they just want to roll out this new product. It could be one of their, maybe like a new product for them, and for them to be able to actually design that, so that means that's the need. So the company need that particular product to be rolled out. They need somebody to actually help them to analyze it, to have actually put all those requirements together. Because if a company say, okay, they want to release a new product, which is a scooter, but how are they going to do it? They have, maybe it's even the idea of one of the, maybe let's say the sales or marketing manager or director, but there are some people that need to work on that. So maybe you have some people in the manufacturing section that need to actually, develop that scooter. But how would they know what they need to develop? Because here we see you're saying we need a new product. Scooter is moving faster, so we need that. But who is going to give the specific? You can't just tell a manufacturer or maybe the people in the manufacturing section to just come up with a scooter. No. Somebody needs to be responsible for that requirement, for that scooter, for the specification. So that's why we are saying anything that has to do with specification, definitely it will either originate from the BA, but it's not the BA that will actually come up with the specification, but the business analyst will actually help to spec that scooter. The BA will be the one to say, okay, you said you need I've just been assigned to this project, and you said you need a scooter. You want to roll out a new product, which is a scooter. Okay. So who is the person? Who are the people that would need this scooter? Okay, we want it for the young children. Okay. So you need to be asking questions. Definitely you have different people that you need to talk to. It could not be, even if you talk to the CEO, it could be one of those people. Maybe you need to talk to the marketing manager. You need to talk to maybe the design architect, all those people, various people, and which we call stakeholders anyway. We are going to go into detail for maybe later. Then, as a BA, you have to come up with the requirement. Okay, we want what color, how many colors do we want to make the scooter? They may say yellow, green, they give you the colors, because you don't just want to give open, just a blank specification to the manufacturer to just produce something. You have to do the specification. You have to document the specification. We want blue, red, and yellow, just 3 colors. Okay, for the blue, you had the one that would say, okay, the blue scooter, what height is it going to be? What age needs to use that blue scooter? They may say anyone from age 3 plus. Okay, how many wheels? Because you have some scooter that is just two wheels, and you have some that are just 3. So all those specifications. How do you want the weight to be? Is it big one? Is it electric scooter? Does it need to have a brake? Does it need to have handle? Does it all those things is the job of this business analyst to come up, to help them document that. But somebody that does not have that skill to ask all those questions may not be able to do the job. Even if you have somebody in an organization that say, oh, we want a scooter, okay, they just document. They may not really be able to dig down to ask the right questions. And sometimes when if somebody, the non-BA actually document that, you may find out that the manufacturer may even produce something that is not really fit for purpose because the person does not have the skills, or maybe the person have missed some critical detail of the specification of the scooter. So that's why you need that skill, to be able to do the job. So, and which I know that definitely, which is possible. And once you have the skills, definitely you should be able to do that. So in a nutshell, we can just say a BA, business analysis is a discipline that enable change, or that identifying business needs, because the business is like releasing a product or maybe a services. It could be anything. It could be a system. And and you help them recommend solution. It's not that you impose the solution to them, but you can, there's various projects that you can do that you may have to, maybe they may not even know have the solution. They may say, oh, we need a system, but they don't know the system. You have to, research and, bring options, and you present the options and the recommendations, and they will now be able to decide on what to do. And so for the business analyst, is something that needs to be able to deliver, like value to the stakeholders. So it's just helping them to identify the business needs and, determining the solution as well. So just in a nutshell, so just carrying out the analysis for the business. So let's just put it that way. And so if you're not saying a business analyst, which I've explained already, so the BA, you are the one responsible, helping the organization to identify the problem. So sometimes they may say, oh, we want a project, we want to release a new system, but you need to understand, why do they need that system? Even if it's a new system, why do they need a new system? It could be they don't even have one before. Maybe probably they're using pen and paper to write details of anyone that comes to purchase something in the organization. So they may say they need a new system to, for the data entering, so that they will get rid of those, all those paper, the manual, all those labor, because it's going to take maybe let's say, for example, it takes, maybe the cashier or the administration to actually record, maybe if somebody comes to purchase something, it could take them maybe about 15 or 20 minutes for that process. But they may say, because they have a lot of customers, they need to introduce a new system that will save time, that will save costs, and it will reduce that manual effort. They want to eradicate that manual efforts. So that's the problem that they've identified. Maybe it's not flexible, maybe it's labor intensive, it takes hours and it's more expensive. But if they have a new system, this is what they want to do. So, as a BA, you are the one that will help to understand it, because when you are carrying out analysis, you need to understand what you are trying, the value they want to get, what is the problem at the moment, and what are they trying to achieve. So then that will help you. But definitely you are not going to manufacture it yourself. You would actually get all those information from the stakeholders. You get all those information from them. They will tell you, but you need to ask. If you don't ask, they may not tell you. They may not be able to tell you everything. So that's why you need to be able to, be able to ask why do you need it? What do you need? All those things. So, but like I said, I know previous sessions, there's some things that we've discussed in detail there. So that's why I encourage you to actually refer to that. So that's just the job of a BA. And also another example is, so for example, let's say we want to actually build a particular local council. They want to build, let's say, a residential apartments, or in a particular area. So in that kind of a situation, you need a BA, because even most projects, you actually need a BA. And so let's just use that, okay, for that council. Now, if a council is saying, oh, our new project or maybe vision is to build maybe 25 residential apartments, for homeless, or to cater, depending on their whatever they're trying to achieve. So as a BA, once you've been assigned to that project, to say, oh, you're a BA to work on this building project or construction project, okay. So you need to identify who are your stakeholders. Your stakeholders are the people that you need to, that they have interest, for the, and sometimes they may not even have that interest, but they have to, contribute one way to that project, because I'm not sure if we got into that, because there are some, we have this, power and influence grid, where you have an interest, where you have, there are some stakeholders they're not even interested, but they have that power. So, and they can influence your projects. So that means they may have high influence and low interest. So how do you manage them? There's a way you manage them, which is another topic entirely. So, but now you have a stakeholder. So you have different, you may identify different stakeholders. They may say, they may even just give you two, say, these are the only two people that you can talk to, that you can gather the requirements, they are the one responsible. It could be, and you could have many stakeholders. You could even have one stakeholder, to be honest. It depends on the project. So let's assume that you have one stakeholder now for this local council project. Then you arrange a meeting, so which we're going to discuss, because there are various meetings, types of techniques that you can use to gather your requirements. So now is a BA that will actually meet the stakeholder to understand, definitely what is the problem statement. Well, why do we not need this? Just to ensure that what we are trying is going to fit for purpose. Why do we need this? So you can even map the process where we have as is, that's the current process, and it to be what they're trying to achieve. And there you can now ask, okay, the requirements now, which is key to any BA job. So you need to ask them requirements. Okay, how many apartments are we going to build in this estate? Oh, we need 25. Yeah, okay, 25. Okay, out of the 25, how many bedrooms is it going to be? So that's when, because if you don't ask, they may just say we need 25 apartments. But when you start asking what type of bedrooms, how many bedroom will it be? So they can now say we are going to have 10 two-bedroom flats, 5 3-bedroom flats, and others maybe 10 maybe 5-bedroom or 6-bedroom flats, or they may even say houses, because then you are not having your specification. Then in each of those, you need to understand, okay, the 2-bedroom, so the 10 2-bedroom, is it going to have the same features? They may say no. They may say some of the 2-bedroom flats needs to have 2 toilets each. And they may say, oh, so the other, maybe like 5 of it just needs to have just one. And they may even tell you, in terms of the room, the size, the measurements of the living room, they may say it has to be 26 and 26 inches or meters, all those things, all the specification needs to be documented. You need to write all those things in document. You may not even know, even in terms of painting. But when it now comes to maybe the construction, maybe like what the bricks or how many sand are going to need, you don't need to get. It's not your job to be able to. But when you provide that, saying we want to build 10 2-bedroom flats, and 5 of these 2-bedroom flats, we have 2 kitchen or 2 living rooms, and maybe 5 of it we have 2 and maybe 1 toilet each, and maybe the other one we have 2 toilets and 1, then it will help maybe the construction engineer to now estimate, what they're going to need to be able to quote for this job. But if you don't give all the specification, they may not be able to, they may just even build something. And that's why sometimes you see a lot of project fails, because sometimes when they don't give the right requirements, and or maybe they just give anyone to just document those requirements without having that BA skills, and they pass it on to the construction company build it, and eventually maybe when they're not inspecting it, that's when they will now be like, oh no, we actually want 2 kitchens here. Oh, this one we actually, it was meant to be 2 living rooms, because is actually, because it's like garbage in, garbage out. If it is whatever you present, that's what you're going to get. But because maybe the person that documented it did not actually specify, what they actually need, that's why they just build it based on is generic. You understand? So, so for a BA, you have to do with, all those requirements, specification, it has to be detailed. You don't use you don't use generic something. You can't say because they want to build 2-bedroom flats, it's going to be 2-bedroom flats without doing specification. So even if it's a system, the system you need to specify. You can say you could work in a company whereby they may say, as a BA, you need to work on this HR system. So And you know that you have a lot of HR systems out there. And even at the end of the day, is there a solution? Maybe they've now identified their provider, their supplier that will actually, build that system for them. But you need to actually make sure you have the right requirements, what your organization actually need. You need to specify that, because it's not the same. It's not like one size fits all, because what you may need, what your HR department may need may be different for what organization B needs. So that's why you need to make sure you write your requirements, in detail. Everything needs to be documented. Everything needs to be documented. If they're going to need, even if it's going to be 50 requirements, you need to write that 50 requirements, and you need to specify how it's going to be met, whether it's a must requirement or it's something that they can do without it. So, but definitely, like I said, but I think with that, I'm sure you understand what a BA, what you do now, as a business analyst. And so let me just quickly check the chat to see if there's anything I need to respond to. Okay. Okay, yeah, I think that's fine. Yeah. So now so what are the skills that are required for the role of this BA? So you need to be able to, to have all the skills that I've listed here. Attention to detail is very, very critical. Is very, very important. Because, for example, if your HR, you are trying to gather requirements for a new HR system, and probably they may tell you that for this HR system, they want to be able to create, or they want to be able to create, they want the system to generate employee number, maybe for 6 digits, maybe in 6 digits, you understand? Probably when you document the requirements, so now as a stakeholder, I'm telling you that I need a system, the HR system should be able to generate employee number in 6 digits, now you've written that same requirements that I've given now. So you've now written it down saying, a system must be able to generate employee number. You could see now you've missed the 6 digits out, because it's different. An employee number should be able to generate an HR system that HR system should be able to generate employee number or in 6 digits, or maybe with 6 digits, whatever is it, at least 6 digits employee number. But when you are documenting it, before what you send to the supplier, you actually say an employee number must have or the HR system must generate employee number. That is wrong, because the supplier may actually configure that system, that HR system, to just be maybe 4. Maybe most of their clients actually use, 4 digits employee number, but your organization is saying 6 digits. Now, if you've now submitted that supplier, the supplier have quoted based on just generic just to generate for the system to generate employee number. So they've delivered it. Maybe during the implementation or during the testing, you now realize that, the employee number is coming up as 4. It's generating just 4 digits. Why is this? You are not questioning the supplier to say, why is it coming up? It's supposed to be 6. No. You actually, the document you send to us, your requirement actually says is just to generate employee number. Most of our clients actually uses 4 digits. So if you need that change, we have to bill you for that. You have to pay additional costs. You could say now that means the BA or whoever that documents that requirements has actually, caused the organization to incur additional costs. So that's why the attention to detail is very, very, very important, because a lot of this, you are dealing with specifications. You are dealing with a requirement that somebody needs. And if there's any mistake, that's why I say garbage in, garbage out. Once they make mistake, that mistake will pass through to the deliveries. Because if you don't identify the mistake early enough before they actually do the designing and the solution and the implementation, before they even roll it out, is going to incur, is going to cost time, is going to cost resources, it's going to cost, money at the same time. So that may even delay the project, it may delay the rollout of that system. So that is why it's very, very important. Whatever the stakeholder asks you to, that they require, that's what you should document. And that is why when you document the requirements, you still send it to your stakeholder to say, okay, these are the requirements that you actually requested from the last meeting that you had. You said you need all this, it has to be in the documents that in your template. You send it to the stakeholder for them to validate. That's an opportunity for them actually to check that, to validate it, whether whatever they mentioned to you is actually still the same. Because sometimes when you document a requirements, it's going to be maybe within that short, time that you are documenting it, because when you meet together your requirements, you're not going to write it in front of them like that. You will go away to document it in your template, to make sure you prepare all the necessary things before you now send it to them. Maybe by the time you're sending it to them, it could be 2 weeks after, or even a week after. Something maybe probably must have changed. So when you now send it to them to validate, they may now say, oh, sorry, we now have, because of the new regulation that just, that took effect yesterday, we need to change this requirement. Can you amend this requirement? So it gives them the opportunity to actually, validate all those requirements. And if they don't, because if you don't send it to them, and imagine a regulation actually changed yesterday, and you did not cater for it, that means you are going to incur additional costs, maybe to cater for that, maybe to add that feature or something, to cater for that requirement or the new regulation, in that system. So that is why that attention to detail is very, very, very important. And also the documentation and writing skills, like you. And so the documentation and writing skills, I'm sure you must have noticed from all the explanation that I've been, saying, that you are documenting this, because your specification is about documentation. You're going to document it. Your requirements, all those things. So if you don't, it's something that you will get used to it. If you don't like documentation, but definitely it's this role, it actually involves documentation, because when you want to send something to a supplier, or you want to even send something to technical team, it has to be written down. So so you need that skill. And also communication is another important skill that you actually need, because for you to actually get a requirement, you need to speak to someone. It's either by email, or maybe, by workshop, or having that, you need to be able to communicate. And, when you're communicating, it doesn't matter your accent or whatever it is, but it's about having that good communication, having that excellent communication to be able to, gather your requirements, to be able to, liaise with your stakeholders is very, very key. Definitely somebody that is, let's say somebody that is does not have that, that skill, and somebody talks to you and you are just, there are some certain things that it gives you an advantage when you have that good communication skills, and also have that good relationship as well. Definitely, if you are meeting a stakeholder for the first time, definitely that's your first relationship, or anyway that you maybe interaction. But the way you communicate with that stakeholder, definitely you can build it from there. You can build that relationship from there. And when you have maybe something to validate, they will help you. And because there are some stakeholders that are very difficult, but if you can break that barrier, and communicate with them easily, that you can engage them easily, it will help you. So that's that on that. And also critical thinking and analytical, because like I said, when earlier about, somebody that does not have the BA skills, if you cannot really analyze, try to think deep. If somebody says, oh, I need a scooter, so anyone can just say, okay, you need a scooter. What color? How many do you need? How many scooter do you need? Okay. What height? Just generic question. But for you, you have to think deep. What are the things that a scooter? You have to think about the wheels. You have to think about the height. You have to think about the weight. You have to think about the material that you need to use. Is it going to be plastic? Is it going to be, metal? Is it going to be stainless? You have to think about, does it have a brake? Is it going to be electric? There's some, that's, when you have the skill, you will be able to, there's no, let's say, generic questions that you need to ask, when you're gathering a scooter. I'm sure you will not find it anywhere, or except maybe some people have done it, they may put it on the internet. But definitely, you just need to be able to think deep, to be able to try, what are the things, if I'm definitely, if you're working on a scooter, you must have seen a scooter before. You just need to try, what color is the handle is going to be? How about the way they put, all those, the leg? What color is the tire is going to be? All those things, the material, you know, you just try to ask several questions, the stability, the weight, of people that can use that particular scooter, you just, so that's the skill. You need to just have that skill to be able to probe, to be able to ask questions, so that it will help you to be able to get the right details for your requirements. And also, the business and industry knowledge, although it helps, but it is not compulsory. Like, for example, if you actually, sometimes you see adverts out there, they will say, oh, maybe they may say they will need a business analyst, but it could be a financial organization, and they would write it there saying, oh, a financial sector background or financial background, maybe is desirable, something like that. So if assuming that you are a BA, or you're a BA, and you studied accounting, or maybe something related to finance, any of this course, maybe it could even be your first degree, that will give you an edge over somebody that has electrical, or that read electrical course as first degree. Although that will give you an edge, because in that industry, about all these balance sheets, all these when they say credits, and all those things that in the accounting jargons like that, vocabularies, because you are familiar with that. So sometimes it gives you an edge. I'm not saying always, but it gives you an edge sometimes. And also, it could be probably maybe somebody that has worked in a, let's say, financial sector before. The person was even maybe electronic or mechanical engineer, first degree, but now a BA, and you are working. Maybe you've worked previous job, you work in a financial sector, and you now want to work in another financial. You apply for a job in another financial organization, but because you have that financial experience before, definitely they will try to consider that person over somebody that has never worked in the financial sector before. So those are the things. But even as a beginner, you can still break in, because even some people that have never maybe worked in maybe that does not have maybe finance or anything, that they did not even read anything finance, maybe in their school when they maybe for the first degree or something like that, and they've not even working anywhere. But at least once they see that you have the skills, sometimes it could be the zeal that they will like, okay, we want to employ this person. So, but it's just that when you have that idea of, maybe pharmaceutical, knowledge, that may actually help. So that's just that one. And also the investigation tech, you have various investigation techniques. Like I said, you have the way, maybe interviewing, workshop. There are so many ways that you can investigate, to get your requirement. Because before you can gather your requirements, you need to carry out that investigation. So that's the part of the investigation. And you have your facilitation skills. When you are doing a workshop, you need to be able to facilitate, because when you are doing a workshop, that's where you have that's different from the interviewing. Interviewing is like one-to-one, when you have one-to-one meeting with maybe your stakeholder to get the information. But workshop is a situation whereby you have more than maybe like, let's say 3, 4, 5, you could even have 20 in a room. And because there are many, you can't be having one-to-one meeting with all of them. So then you can arrange a workshop, maybe 4 5 hours workshop, and you have them in a room. But when you have 20 people, you need to be able to know how to facilitate that workshop, moderate, but we use facilitate anyway, to be able to coordinate it. You need to be able to have that skill, because you have, and like I said, stakeholder management as well. So when you have you have the stakeholder management, you have different people with different behaviors. So you just need to be able, because what you're after is your requirements. How do you get your requirements? Because if you have somebody that is not very nice, definitely not everyone that you come across is nice, I can guarantee you. But you just need to be able to know how to manage them, to be able to get what you are after. You need to be able to, you just manage them, just how you can, cope with them, and to ensure that you still achieve your aim. And also you have conflict management. Team working is very, very important, because when you are working as a BA, you are working in a team. So you will have maybe your PM, you may have your product owner, you have your PM, your project manager, and so you may have your maybe the tester, which they come in, into the picture later. You may have your solution architect. You may have different people, within the project team. So you'll be working in a project within the project. So you have people, and because sometimes they may say, oh, Happy, we want you to actually clarify these requirements. So you have to, if it's something that you can clarify, you can. And even something that you still have to get the information from your stakeholder, you need to be able to actually help them to be able to, get clarification to that requirement, because without them, because it's about team goal, it's not about you gathering your requirements only. Because even if you gather your requirements and you say you are finished and you're not, cooperating or working, with other people as well, definitely no product will be released, no system will be delivered. So you just need to work as a team. So that's the whole story there. And so, like I said earlier, your roles and responsibility as a business analyst. So you carry out the investigation, because when they assign you to any project, they want you to go and get the requirements. So even if maybe your BA manager, business analyst manager, actually say, oh, Abby, you're not going to be placed on these new regulatory projects. That's maybe your manager will just give you maybe whatever information he knows, but he's not going to give you the requirement. So you have to carry out that investigation by yourself, to be able to say, okay, meet your stakeholders, what do they need? What are, all those requirements you need to carry out. What is the problem? What are we trying to achieve? You need to understand, have that information, so you need to have that skills, to be able to, and you also need to be able to carry out all those investigations to get your requirements. And also your identifying your stakeholder, because sometimes, like I said, your BA manager may just say, oh, Abby, you have been assigned to this project, so this is the PM, this is your contact, reach out to this person and they'll be able to get you on board. But how are you going to do it? So then you need to be able to find a way to identify your stakeholder. So definitely your manager has identified one stakeholder, which is your project manager. Then when you meet the project manager, you need to be able to discuss. The project manager will give you a brief of the projects, what they're trying to achieve, what they're trying to do, or the projects. Then from there, you can now start identifying, because definitely you are not going to manufacture the stakeholder yourself, but from the information from, within the team there, you will get to know all your stakeholders. Your project manager will be able to tell you the stakeholders, all the stakeholder he or she knows. And from there, even when you meet maybe any of the stakeholders, they may tell you, actually, you need to speak with this person as well. So from meeting them and maybe any of the stakeholders, you may even identify more stakeholders. So that's that one. And also, and when you identify your stakeholder, like I said earlier at the beginning, we have this power and interest grid. When you analyze a stakeholder, you need to know whether they have interest of that project. You will know. You will know whether they have influence on this. You will know whether they really keen to their hearts. Is their baby. You understand? You will know. So that means those people we want, they want to do everything to ensure that project is successful. And there are some stakeholders that is just that, because maybe they are the one, maybe it has a link to their team or to their department, they have a say in it, but they may not really be the owner of the system, or they may not even be the primary user of the system, but they have a stake in it. So, and they may not really be interested. So, so you just have to know how to manage those people, analyze them, then you'll be able to know whether you have to be watching out for these people, or you have to keep them on side, or there are some people that you just have to maybe there's a way you manage them anyway. So, but in that textbook the BCS textbook, definitely everything is in there, the power grid. Once you search the power grid, you'll be able to see it in there. And also with the analysis, when they give you the requirements elicitation, we call it requirement gathering as well. So that's requirement gathering, how you gather your requirements, what are the techniques that you can use to gather your requirements. So, and analyzing the requirements as well. Sometimes they give you requirements, but if you read it properly, or if you analyze it, you will know that requirement does not make sense. So, but you don't just, it's not that everything that they just give you, you just pass like that. Once they give you requirements, maybe it could be, maybe the requirements are contradicting. Maybe they've given you 5 requirements, and one of the requirements actually contradicts at one of those listed. So what you can do in that case is to approach the stakeholder and try to get clarification. It could be the stakeholder actually made a mistake, but if you don't point it out, that means you will just pass that maybe wrong requirement. You just pass it on like that. So that's why, it could be in your requirements. You need to be able to analyze it properly to ensure that, definitely they knows the requirement, but there are some things which is common sense. You will know that this thing is actually, real. It's just like when somebody is saying, we need a system that can, that can maybe that can post letter to our new starter. How is that possible? If the system can generate the letter, which somebody still need to go and print, you understand, but not to post. They're not going to, the system cannot work, cannot, all those things. So, there are some requirements that you yourself, you will know that this one does not make sense. So, and also sometimes it could be for you to just analyze what the problem is, because sometimes the stakeholder may feel maybe it's that process that is wrong, maybe that has a problem. But maybe by the time you do all your investigation, gathering requirements from them, understanding what they're trying to achieve, you may actually realize that it's not the process. Then you can point it out to say, during the analysis of all the information you're giving them to me, I realized that it's not actually this process. They have identified another problem in here. Then the stakeholder, that could be, like a tip to the stakeholder to say, oh, they may not really know before, they may not even know. So, but you pointing it out to them, then they can now investigate as well to confirm whether that's a problem or maybe that's additional problem. So you need to be able to, do those analyses as well, from the requirement, from any information they've given you. And like I said, documentation of the requirements is also, you are the one that is responsible for documenting any requirements, whether it's 30 pages or 20 pages, you are responsible for it. And also to identify the gap they have, maybe what they have right now, what they're trying to achieve, which is definitely there's a gap there. You need to be able to carry out that gap analysis. So which is something, once you know all these things, definitely is something that is you can do. And the requirements validation is the one I mentioned earlier. When they give you the requirements, maybe during your meetings, you've gathered the requirements, then what do you need to do? Then once you document it, you go away, you document it. It could take you 1 week to document or 2 weeks, depending on the, the volume of the requirement. Then you need to send it back, to the stakeholder to say, have documented the requirement. Could you please review this and, comments on it? Then they may even give you additional requirements in that case, or they may even just say, oh, you made a mistake here. So that's the essence of the requirements validation. So is a key step that you need to carry out as well, because I've given you scenarios of situation whereby something may change, or they may even make mistake in the first instance, and they realize maybe while reading it, they may realize that, oh, they've made a mistake, then you can correct it that way. And it could take three iteration like that they may send it back, make a change, and again, you do it again, they realize another thing again, or they may add or remove something. So that's why that step is actually very, very important. So, and once they actually validate and say everything is fine, then that means that is sealed. Then you can now send that to whether the supplier or you send that to the technical team. That means that's your job done, for that as well. So, and also this is actually, so we have all the keywords, although there are more, we have more, but at least these are the key ones I can just, that at least I've just listed here. So elicitation, like I said, elicitation is, gathering. That's another word for gathering. Like sometimes when you go for an interview, so let me want to know whether this person actually maybe a BA, you can say, when you start using, or they may even use the word and they just want to test you. So elicitation is another word for gathering. So if I say, like requirements, requirement elicitation, that's requirement gathering. So that's just another vocabulary anyway. So Moscow, you come across this, definitely something that you need to know is must, should, and could, and will not have. So when you're writing your requirements, you apply either of these four in there, either must or should or could, will not. You apply it. Must is something essential that you need to have. That, for example, we can say a system must be able to accept, must have user signing, let's say signing tab or button. Is a must, because you don't want just any unauthorized person to access the system. So that means that sign-in button must have to be on the system. The login, like it has to be, people need to have, or you need to have like users, created on the system, things like that. So it's a must. You can't do without it. It's an essential. So anything that is very, very important that you cannot do without, that is when you use must. So I can say a system must have sign-in or login feature. So yeah, so that's a must. So I can say a system should have baskets. You understand? Not, it depends on what you're designing, but you can actually do, if it's not shopping, a shopping system or a shopping website organization, you may not really need the baskets. You understand? But and another organization may need a basket, or they can even maybe design that later, deliver that later. So The should is also something important, but it is not essential at the moment. It is not essential, but it is important. So why the could also is something that is less important and less essential. So it's not, you can do without it, and would not have is something that you say, I'm not having it. So the code is like something like nice to have, but it's not compulsory that they need to have it. So any requirements that you write needs to have one of these. If you write a requirement and say a system is, how am I going to even write this? Can I even write it? Um a system shows login login, it doesn't even flow. You understand? It does not even flow, so you can't even write that. So it's either I say a system should have login or icon or login feature, or a system or a system should or must have, or a system could have. You understand? You need to use one of these, one of these. But most times when you are not having it, you list use this won't have. You understand? So most time you either use these three: must, should, could. So your requirements, when you write a requirement, it must have it must have either must or should or could or won't. It must have one of it. So you can't write anytime you write a requirement and you don't have any of this in there, then I'm sorry, that is not a good way of writing requirement. And so, like I said earlier, facilitate. You use that terminology when you are doing facilitating a workshop. You say, oh, when I was working at NHS, when I was working on the payments, let's say EPR system, when I was at the NHS England, I facilitated a workshop of maybe 30 people, understand? So, but when you're trying to use the word like coordinate or moderate like that, so you use facilitate. Anything that has to do with workshop, which is another way of gathering requirements, you use facilitate. So the BPMN is also a business process modeling notation, which you will come across maybe in your Visio. So then business users, those are your stakeholders. Your project sponsor, if you're familiar with project sponsor, definitely that's the person that is, cashing out. If the person said there's no money again, that means that project is stuck. And your stakeholder, we've said that earlier. And the business process model, you have different process model that to be able to show the sequence of how a particular activities is being carried out or processed. And so you have all this. In the swim lane is actually you use that in swim lane, so which I can show you that next week. And Epic is like a big user story that you can break down into multiple user story. And what is your user story? You have there's a way, when you write your requirement, you need to back it up with user stories as well, so that whoever that is going to actually work on that requirement to deliver it, they will understand your requirements better. You understand? So there's a format that you use to write a user story. I can say as a let's say as an administrator, I want to generate employee number, so that I can maybe so that I can assign them maybe a department, or maybe payroll number, something like that, So it has as a user, I want to, then the reason. So, but we'll discuss that. I will show you that next week. And the RACI is something that is similar to the terminology you have in using projects. So the R stands from responsible, the A stands from the accountable, then the C is consultant, and I is informed, and that's actually adopted from the project management word. So SDLC, software development lifecycle, when you are developing any system, you go through this is that's what they use software development. There are some steps that, or let me say, the journey, that you have in that life cycle, when you are developing any software. So where you have your maybe analysis, your design before you go into maybe solution or implementation, testing, all those things. Then UML, so you have that in that textbook as well. And as is, that is also, you need to know this. When they say as is means current. So like, the one of the examples that we used earlier, saying, probably maybe a company where they're actually using pen and paper to write, the details of all the purchasing or that their clients are making. So, but now they want to actually maybe introduce a new system, a system that will help them to record all those details instead of writing in a paper. So when we want to say their current process, which is as is process. So current means as is. So that means if you are going to write that, I'm going to say is their paper and pen that they use at the moment. So that's their as is process. So there's a way you can map it. We can try one next week if we have time. Then to be is their future, which is their or a system that they want to adopt, a new system that they want to implement. So that's their to be. That means the future, what they want. But what they have now is as is, and the to be is actually what they want. So you need to understand that as well. Artifacts like the documents that you produce, the wireframe, sometimes wireframe has more or less like skeletal, like if you want to design a website, if you write the requirements, it's always good to back it up with wireframe. Wireframe is more or less like a sketch, a sketch of, what you're trying. Let's say you want to develop a website. So now you have a sketch of that website, you could say, because if you are writing a requirement for a website, you want to develop a website, you can say the website must have blue background. The website must have, the home page must have a big banner, at the top. The website must have, contact addresses, they map to the location, or their maybe site location, all those things. You may write it down in your Word documents, but the developer may not really know how to arrange it, but whoever that actually has maybe knowledge may use maybe their knowledge in that area to say this is how it's supposed to be arranged. But your organization may want to arrange it in a different way. So if you just write that requirement without a wireframe, then the developer may arrange it anyhow. So probably your organization may want it to be at the top left, maybe somewhere close to here, and maybe they want the site location to be, maybe they want the site location to be, somewhere in the middle here. But are you going to write that in your Word documents? It's difficult. So what you do is you sketch. There are so many applications that you can use, which is very easy. Under 1 hour, you can even learn that. You just use it to draw like a website. Then you can just put maybe site location somewhere in the middle here. It's like as if you're sketching something on a paper, you just draw it, then the person will be able to know, this is where, this is where the, what's it called? The site location is going to be, contact us is going to be here. And this, maybe our objective is going to be, something like that. Then you have to do that for different pages of the website. So, and it could even be a system. So it helps as well, but not all projects that you do wireframe from, not all. But there are some, if it's something that has to do with anything digital, anything that they have to interact like a website, or, maybe something like that has user interface interaction. So definitely you will need a wireframe. They may not tell you, but at least they will expect you to actually know that you need to back up your requirements with wireframe as well. And prototype is similar as well. Then the smart, also your requirements, we always say your requirement needs to be smart. So it has to be specific, it has to be measurable, like I said, specific, it has to be like that. You can't just write a generic something, you know, it has to be what exactly they want. You can't say, oh, I want it a tall I want a tall or maybe let's say a scooter of good height. What is a scooter of good height? No, a scooter of good height is not a requirement. You can say I want the user wants or this you can say the scooter must have, you can say scooter must have a good height. No, it is wrong. A scooter must be maybe 23 centimeter tall, you know, something like that. So it has to be specific, you know, regarding your requirements. You have to be specific about it. And also, it has to be measurable as well. So that is the M. And also the A is for achievable. So like I said, when you are writing what's it called? A requirement and you say the system must be able to post, you know, post the maybe new starter details to their house. How will it do that? It's not a human being that will be able to work. So it has to be achievable. And also, you know, it has to be realistic as well. You know, it's still the same as well. And also it can be testable or traceable, you know, depending on the you know, so you have that in that textbook as well. The workshop, we've discussed about the workshop as well, which is the yeah. So I think which one is the last one here? I'm not sure of I can't really say. I think the BRD is the business requirement document, is the document that you use, or they may call it business specification document. It's still the same thing. It's still about the where you document your requirements. And so then you have different types of requirements. So you have functional requirements and non-functional requirements. So functional requirements are requirements that you actually what you want the solution to do. Like you want the system to be able to generate, let's say, employee number. That's like a functional requirement. But when we are talking about non-functional requirements, so most of your requirements will be would be functional requirements. But you also do have non-functional requirements, which is about how the solution will behave, how the system will behave. You understand? So it's about maybe the reliability, availability, recoverability, is about, you know, all those usability, performance, you know, capacity, you know, all those like ability stuff. They are mostly non-functional. So it's just about maybe the system must be available 24 hours, or you should be able to recover. If the system goes down, it should be able to recover the system within maybe let's say maybe 2 hours, you know, things like that. Then we have you know, there are some deliverables that they will expect a BA to actually deliver as well. And so the requirements documents, and in the requirement documents, you have high-level requirements, which could be all their requirements. They may just say, oh, just give us a quick, maybe just quickly gather the high-level requirement. So that may be, let's say, for example, maybe 15. They will give you 15 high-level requirement. But by the time you are not documenting the low-level requirement, which is the detail requirement, that 15 high-level requirement may be expanded to maybe 45 or even 60. So you just need to understand that there's high-level requirement and there's low-level requirements as well. So, but definitely is a stakeholder that will still provide that to you. And so in your documentation, you have, like I said, functional requirements, you have non-functional, you have your maps, because that will help the supplier or whoever the developer to understand how the process is going to work or how the process is being done at the moment. And your user stories will help them to understand the requirements better. Is more or less like a backup as well, and or maybe additional information. Acceptance criteria, so it's for the supplier or the developer to know the criteria that the customer or the stakeholder is going to use to test that system. So you would have listed that as well. You can write that in conjunction with your stakeholder to be able to say, when the system is being delivered, this is what we are going to test. So then these are the things, you know, all these requirements, your user stories, your acceptance criteria, these are all the things that the the QA, the solution, or the tester, the software tester. These are the things that they're going to use. So that's why I do say to people that a BA job is very, very critical, because without a BA, the tester cannot work. The tester cannot even do anything without the BA being gathering the right requirements or documenting the right requirements. The tester cannot do a good job as well. So it's more or less like if the BA documents any wrong requirement, it will affect everyone. That means the tester will document wrong thing because they will feel it's the right thing. The developer will develop wrong thing because they will feel they would affect it's the right requirements. So BA is the critical point. So it's more or less like a single point of failure. So if something happens, if anything goes wrong from the BA side, it will affect everyone. It will affect everyone down the line. The developer, the tester, it will affect until the stakeholder now realize that, oh, this is not what we actually, requested. So BA, you need to be very, very careful, because so it's your requirements that the tester will actually use to do their work. Because the tester cannot manufacture the requirement, because they will not be speaking with directly with the clients. Although when they are doing this testing, they may liaise, but because the BA is the first point of contact, you are the one liaising, or like a middle person, between the technical team and the stakeholder. So because the BA is responsible, to you have the interest of your customer, your stakeholder at heart. So that means whatever they need, you have to pass it on to the technical team, or whoever is developing it before the tester can even do their job. So you need to make sure whatever you document everything right, then, because from your requirement, that's what the tester are going to write their test cases from. So you need to be very careful about that. So requirements, traceability matrix is more or less like, trying to trace that, because there's a way you can see whether your requirement, how it's being made, what are the things that are linked to that requirement. So, but you can listen to that detail, I think, in the these videos of the previous sessions. So like these ones are deliverables are not really optional. Not all projects that they will ask you to write a business case. Normally, the business case, the PM usually write the business case, but there are some projects they will put you on. They will expect they may not have PM, and they will say, oh, the BA should write a business case. But definitely, the templates will help you, so that should not be a problem. And the wireframe, like I mentioned earlier, the wireframe, not every time you have to do wireframe for all projects. No. So it's only when it has to do with all these digital projects, then you will need a wireframe. Like if you are developing an application, all this soft or phone app, that you have on the phone, you need to have a wireframe for it, because how would they know how the apps will be arranged on the phone? Any mobile phone, like all these, maybe Samsung or iPhone, definitely when they are designing that, they will need a wireframe for that, because how the layout is going to be, when you press contact, what should be displayed. When you press calendar, what should be displayed. That's the job of the wireframe, because that will help them to be able to know how how everything is, what is going to appear, and the layout as well. And the test plan and cases, like I said, is optional. Sometimes you work on a project, if they don't have a tester, they may say you should write the test plan and test cases, but to be honest, is something that is, once you have maybe like sample, is doable, you can do it, but it's usually the job of the the tester, like the QA, like the tester, they call them QA, to actually write all those test cases and test plan. So it's not really a core BA job. Business impact analysis. Yes, some projects, they do ask you to write at some organization, but some organizations, they don't really have any business impact analysis like that. So it's just to know how that project will impact maybe their system. It could be maybe their recovery. It could be maybe if anything happens, how will they respond, or will the system impact maybe any other existing project, or maybe the resources. It could be in terms of resources, it could be in terms of maybe technical system. It could be anything, but it's not, it depends on the organization. Most organizations, they don't usually carry out, but when you do, you have a template, and that will guide you. And the software that you need to know is just this, to be honest, is this for the Balsamic, Sketch, and Fluid. All this one, you use it for Wireframe. Like I said, not all the time that you do need to use it. Excuse me, but this Microsoft Office, the Visio, is the common one that you use to map your process. You need to learn it. And trust me, it's something you can learn in a day, let me just say, in hours, or in less than 1 hour. You can learn this in this Microsoft Visio. You just play around with it, or just watch the video. Is very easy, very easy. I can trust me on that. So Visio is that's what you use to map your process. You can use that to do your wireframe as well. So I will show you next week. And the Microsoft Word, most definitely, that's what you use to document your requirements. But it depends on some organization, they use Excel. But most organizations use Microsoft Word to actually document the business requirement documents or business specification documents. So, but some people do use Excel, but I think the common one is Microsoft Word. The Microsoft Excel, when you are writing your acceptance criteria, you can use either Microsoft Excel or Microsoft Word. So, but this Visio is very, is very important. You need to learn how to use it, because if you're mapping your process, and you may work on a project and there is not, they will not have to map, but you need to know how to use it. And it's something that you can just dedicate a few hours to it, and you get, and once you can even download that. I think on you can get the license on the web, on the internet. Maybe is it, I know some people actually, maybe Hebe or something like that, so you can get a license. It will, you'll be able to get that, or Microsoft website, you can even get it there. It's affordable. It's affordable, so you can just download it on your PC and just play with it, and you'll be able to do it. So the investigation techniques, which I think we actually discussed some of this earlier. So the purpose of the investigation is for you to be able to understand, the current situation, or the current process, or the to-be process, or to understand the problem, or to identify their needs. And it could be to, to gather your requirements as well. And like I said, there are various ways that you can actually, get all this information. It could be by research. It could be maybe questionnaire that you need to hand, you have a lot of people that you need to get information from. And if it's something that, there are some projects that you cannot use questionnaire for, but, when you, learn more, you'll be able to know when to use questionnaire and when not to use it. So you use questionnaire to get information as well. Likewise, the workshop, which you have a lot of people in there, in the room, then you have that session to start discussing the project, your requirements, and prototyping as well. It could be that you develop something similar, that you use that to, because sometimes the stakeholder may not really know what they want, but when they see something that may actually juggle their brain, to be able to say, juggle their mind to say, we need this, we need that, so that could help as well. Shadowing, it could be you just need to know see how they are doing the process. They'll be able to identify the problem or know what they need. And also, likewise, the interviewing as well is about, having that one-to-one conversation with the stakeholder. Definitely, there are so many things that you need to do when you're doing your interview. You will arrange the time, the location, the agenda, which is, all those things are very easy, to be honest. So once you just, know when to do it, you can have an interview with somebody or maybe you want to have interview with the meeting with the person tomorrow, and you are sending an invite today. No, that's not done. They don't do it like that. You have to give them enough time, check their calendar to see whether they are available. So that's why I always advise, whenever you want to invite a stakeholder to a meeting, always check their calendar first, because they could be on annual leave. And you may send an invite expecting them to turn up at they may not even respond to that. They may not even accept that invite. And you are just expecting them to turn up at the meeting, but you didn't have any response. So not knowing that maybe that person is on annual leave, or maybe long-term sickness, or even maternity leave, you understand? So you just need to make sure, always check their calendar to know their availability. Then you can now plan the meeting in. Don't just put meeting in their calendar, because they may even have another meeting at that time. So, but when you check the calendar by the Outlook, you'll be able to see when they are available. Then you can schedule the meeting in, and always give them enough time. It could be 3 days or 5 days, even. You can even give them 1 week ahead, depending on the time scale of the project, then, so that at least they will be able to prepare for the interview, or for whatever you're going to do as well. And so this is about the interview. So you need to know who you want to interview, why you want to interview the person, because probably maybe they've told you that this person is responsible for finance requirements. So you need to speak with this person. Then you need to know who they are, what is their position, what is their name, you need to know all those things. And okay, then what exactly do you want to, what exactly as well, then when do you want to interview them, then where, their location as well, so you need to be able to answer all these details by the time you are doing all the interview. And I think in the previous sessions that we had, there are some things like a checklist that you need to do when you want to do interview or workshop. I'm sure when you watch the maybe like last year or 2 years ago, you'll be able to see it, because I actually explained all this in detail. And okay, I think this is part of it anyway. And so you have to plan the interview. This is when you want to do interview, you have to plan for your interview. So you have to, prepare the agenda. You have to state in the body of the email or the invite. You have to be able to, to say the reason why you want them, so that at least that will give them an idea of what they're coming to discuss. And the duration of the interview must not be 1 hour. It must not be more than 1 hour. Imagine you talking to somebody for 1 hour, for 90 minutes. It will be boring, and the person may be even be tired. So when you are scheduling an interview, you could do, it depends on what you're discussing. Sometimes you even have an interview for 15. If you don't really have much to discuss, it could be 30 minutes. It could be 45 minutes. But your interview must not exceed 1 hour at a time. Although you can now, if you still have more requirements to gather, more things to discuss, you can schedule another time, maybe another day. But at a time, in one stretch, don't do more than 1 hour. So just do maximum of 1 hour. And the location of the interview is always advisable to ensure that when you're having the interview is like where the stakeholder is very familiar with. It could be in the building, it could be on the floor. If you are maybe on different floors, you can try to find that location, where they will be more comfortable. So maybe, around their office there. And if it's something that maybe you are in maybe Lombard Street in London, another person is in maybe Victoria, you could maybe, if your client is in Victoria, your stakeholder, then why not travel to Victoria to have the meeting with them, instead of asking them to come to maybe Lombard Street in central London. So yeah, so try to make sure you try to plan that where they'll be more comfortable. And the structure of the interview as well, you introduce yourself. Imagine you meeting somebody for the first time, How would they know you? So try to introduce yourself. Even if you have even in your email, you would have said that anyway. But even when you now meet, you say, "Oh, my name is Abby. I've been assigned to this project. I just want to understand. I want to, understand the what you need regarding this project. You just try to, introduce yourself. Just brief. You don't need to say all the places that you've worked before. You don't need all these ones. Just I'm from IT. I've been assigned to this project, just a brief introduction. And and then you now go to your question. Then you try, when you finish asking all your question, then you close it up and you let them know, oh, maybe after this I'm going to go away to write it up. Maybe in another 3 days I will send you the documents, and I want you to validate all those requirements, things like that. Just let them know the next step of action, so at least that will prepare them as well. And also how you conduct the interview, which is the, asking that question. And you may even tell them that, just in case if I'm typing, I'm just typing all the details that you're giving me. So, just try to also maintain eye contact as well. So that also helps. And also after the interview, you can just send them, thanks email saying, oh, thanks so much for attending the meeting earlier. As discussed earlier, I was write this and I will send it to you maybe by Friday, and I will want you to review it and revalidate all these things, and you can let me know your thoughts. If you have any amendments or any, you just write it. Just let them, just let them know next step of action by writing again. So that's for the interview. But like I said, the workshop one is in the previous videos. And I think, yeah, that's the end of the slides. I mean, end of the session for tonight. So any questions? I know we still have time, so any question? Oh, okay, yeah, pain points, okay. Yeah, pain points like the problem, what they want, yeah, okay. Will you say BA is more of quality assurance? Yes, we can. It depends on what because if you say quality assurance, sometimes, they have different things, but we can say, the BA, before you can even do sort of like a quality assurance, you must have had something before you can even do that, the quality checks. So, but the BA, you are the more or less like at the beginning of that journey, trying to understand. So I wouldn't say they are quality assurance. I won't say like that. Although they may carry out, because when the tester actually delivered and when the developer delivered that, and it's even the tester that will actually do the sort of like the quality checks. Although before you now deliver to my stakeholder, I need to know what you have delivered as well to see whether everything works according to the requirements that I've given to you as well. So yeah, but there are more of requirements as well. Okay, so let me maximize this. Okay. Can we please resume? Okay, Basumi. Okay, 5 hours is a keyword. Okay, can we get a slide? Oh yes, the slides will be on. It will be on the. It will be on YouTube, the Bluetooth, Blue Sky Citadel YouTube channel. It will be there. So yes. When does the internship registration close? I think admin will be able to respond to that. I don't have that detail, but I'm sure the admin will be able to. If you can send maybe a message to that platform where you are, so I'm sure they will be able to, the admin will be able to respond to that. Okay, you're welcome, Olubumita. Yeah, so it's very once you know what you're doing, and yes, it's doable. I've seen people that they never had BA experience and they are doing a great job, and some people, they even landed their first job as a contractor, earning per day, and some permanent, It just depends, you know. So just it's just about dedication and trying, and determination to, to, once you know what you want, is doable. You can just focus, try to watch the previous the videos that we have on the Blue Sky Citadel YouTube channel. Is very comprehensive, is very detailed. You could see that I could talk a lot. I talk too much, but definitely they are very detailed. Yeah, so the internship information is on Telegram platform. So ensure that you join the Telegram platform. Then you'll be able to have that information. So much for your time. So I'll speak with you next week again by God's grace. Okay, thank you. Bye.